Hopefully you have space. All right. Welcome everybody to our Sunday night kickoff Zoom. I'm just going to kick us off with a few little announcements, and then I'm going to hand it over to our coaches who are going to lead us tonight. I wanted to, if your first time listening, or if these are going to be every Sunday evening at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, we always record them if you can't make it, so don't worry, and we share them in the group. But every week we try to serve needs that we see popping up. So if you think of something along the way that you want us to do a Zoom on, just message your coach and be like, I think it'd be really helpful if you guys taught us about this, because we'll do it, you know. A couple things I wanted to remind you guys about. Number one is we are reading, it's optional, but Made to Crave as a book this month, and the last Sunday Zoom call of the month will be kind of a book club. So I picked mine up last week, and my goal is to read like 5 to 10 pages a day. I'm not trying to like hammer through, but it's a great book. Like, this is my third or fourth time reading it, and even now going through, I mean, I love it because I see the stuff I underlined last time and I still would underline it again, you know. But it's a great book on just identifying what really are our triggers and how to overcome them in this journey. So I just wanted to remind y'all of that. The other thing is, for those of you guys who have Beachbody On Demand, that new program Lift 4 is releasing tomorrow. And if you want to look into it, there is a preview workout that we've been kind of trying out that you can access for free. And if you don't have Beachbody On Demand, you can try it out too. So some of our 2B Mindset people who have been doing exercise for extra credit, if you're thinking of venturing out, this is a 4-day-a-week program for half an hour, which I'm really excited about, because 80-Day Obsession was an hour a day, 6 days a week, and that was hard to fit in. I think I can manage 30 minutes 4 days a week. So if you're curious about that, you might see a lot of posting about it, because the big release of the program is tomorrow, or the launch, and your coach can get you more info. And then the last thing I wanted to mention is that every Saturday morning at 8 in the morning, we hop on a Zoom like this and we work out. So there's a link that will be posted. Lindsay usually posts it on Friday as a reminder to everyone. And literally, you pick the workout you want to do, and all of us get on, we mute ourselves, and we exercise and then chat afterwards sometimes. I've even had people come over that are local and do it at my house while on a Zoom, which was kind of fun too. But we would love for you to join us. You know, I think it's fun. Saturdays are usually a hard day to get a workout in, and it's nice to get that bonus in and have the community there. And so that is something we'll do every Saturday. The times might change or fluctuate, and we'll always let you know. But those are just the things I wanted to, and the last thing I was gonna tell you is, because our groups have a lot of activity, if you're ever wondering, well, I don't know what post to do, the coach of the day will always pin their post to the top of the page. So if you're looking for the post of that day, that's where you can find it. But if you get to the point where you're like, oh, there was a coach that did a video a few days ago and I didn't catch it and it's no longer pinned, if you're in the team, in the group, you can go to videos and all of them are there. Or we actually have units, and if we're going to be having a unit that is coach videos. So you can go to the coach video unit and they'll all be just right in front of your newsfeed, and you can select ones if you want to go back and watch one again. So I know sometimes it's like, oh, I missed the post from 2 days ago and I need to catch up. Well, that's one way to organize the group a little bit to help you find it. So that's all I have to share. But I'm excited about tonight because food and getting in veggies and meal prep, like, I'm going to be honest, I think I know I've grown in this area, but I always learn from these ladies when they share. Like, that's why I love this. 5 years in, I'm still learning. Like I said earlier, I went to the fair today and I brought a salad. I would have never, ever thought to do that before. I really wouldn't have. I don't know why. I would have thought it was harder than it was. So they're going to talk about some tips and planning and on the go and all of that. And if you have questions, you can hit the chat part and type your questions in the side and we can answer them at the end. Or if you have a tip to share, you're more than welcome to at the end too. So I'm going to go ahead and hand it over. I don't know which of you guys wants to go first.
I can.
Okay, perfect. Thank you guys.
So basically, I'm going to be talking about what I do to meal prep, and it's super simple. Because to me, like, I have to have simple. I'm not a cook, you know, like, I don't call myself a cook or think of myself as a cook, but, so I found like certain ways to make it easy for me. The Instant Pot has become my best friend. I got that for Christmas, and it is, if you do not have one, and I know Nikki, you're on here and you can vouch for it, that the Instant Pot is amazing. So I make all of, or most of my prep in my Instant Pot, but I mean, obviously you can make it in different ways too. But what I like to have is, like, I go through and I'm like, okay, what are my staple foods that I know I'm going to eat throughout the week, breakfast, lunch, dinner. And I kind of go through and, figure out what those are. And for breakfast, and if y'all have questions and you're writing it in the chat, let me see if I can. Okay, I think I pulled it up. Last week, it wouldn't let me see any questions or anything in the chat. So if I don't answer them, then that's why. Or somebody let me know. But okay, so what I like to do is I think about, okay, well, what do I want to have for breakfast? And a lot of times what I like to have is, I love pancakes. And so I had found a couple of healthy alternatives, instead of just like white flour pancakes. And so what I will do is I'll get I'll make a big pot of sweet potatoes, and I will, take the skin off and have them in a, like Tupperware bowl. And so as I make breakfast, I will get like half a cup of sweet potatoes, 2 eggs, and about a cup or so of spinach up. And that makes my pancake batter. And so I will make that, and it makes about 4 or 5, so it's a good many. And I will get just a teaspoon of peanut butter and divide it between all of my pancakes, and it's super good. And that's a way to get in like your protein, your carb, your veggie, because I'm doing the 2B mindset like some of you, and I'm trying to get in veggies anywhere I can. And so that's one way that I do that. I'll do 2 eggs and half a banana and a little Greek yogurt, and that, some mornings will be my pancake batter. And so I try to have, I think about, okay, what do I want for breakfast this week? And so I'll try to have my bananas, my eggs, my spinach, and my sweet potatoes. And then I like to also have some oatmeal and some whole wheat toast or whole grain toast on hand, in case if I want to switch up my my carb. And yeah, Megan, the sweet potatoes, I love sweet potatoes by themselves, but they're super good in the pancake batter. But yeah, so I like to have the whole grain bread too, and oatmeal in case I want to switch it up. So I kind of have like my 2 or 3 favorite things. Like I think of my 2 or 3 favorite things for breakfast, and I make sure I have all of that. And so that way in the mornings, I can just whip it up real quick, super simple, and get on with my day. And for, and also for lunch and dinner, of course, we incorporate more meat. And so there comes the Instant Pot again. So I will get my my chicken breast. I'll get like some boneless, skinless chicken breast and put it in my Instant Pot. It just takes like 22 minutes and it is cooked. And so, and what I also, and this is a cool tip too that somebody showed me a while back, is you can get your, what is it called? Your, like, that you beat, like your, when you're baking, like your beaters or whatever they're called. I can't even think of the name now, but, and you can put your chicken in a bowl and use your beaters and turn them on, and it'll shred your chicken for you, instead of like having to get a fork and like, like shred it with your hands. It made my life so much easier. And so I do that, and I'll have my shredded chicken and I'll put it in a Tupperware bowl and I'll put it in the refrigerator. So then I can go to it for my lunches, for my dinners, and I'll just have all that ready. And then, of course, you can do the same thing with your ground turkey or ground beef. And I also like to have things that I don't necessarily cook right away, but that are quick to make, like turkey burgers, turkey sausage. I like to get the Butterball turkey sausage, and it comes in links, and I just cut it up, and I'll have it with some brown rice. I really like to have that with a little coconut oil. Coconut oil is my jam. Like, if y'all don't have coconut oil, it is amazing. And I'll even, like, for lunch sometimes I'll get, like, I have these gluten-free corn tortillas, and I'll get like 1 or 2, and I'll put them in some coconut oil, and I'll, get it hot, and I'll put my tortilla in there and get it crispy, so where it's kind of crunchy and gives me that nice crunch. And then I'll put some shredded chicken, a little bit of like cheese, or just whatever you want in there. And you can even do that for like your Taco Tuesday, is use the coconut oil is kind of a healthier alternative that I found that we all like. So anyways, so that's kind of like what I do for my lunches and dinners, is I make sure that I have all my or most of my meats ready, where I can just look in the fridge, it's already ready. I can kind of mix everything together. I do the same thing with my vegetables. I put them in the Instant Pot because, like I said, I'm trying to eat more vegetables. And I like to get the frozen, like the mixed vegetables from Walmart, the big frozen bags. And I can do like half, like the big bags, I can do like half a bag in the Instant Pot and steam them, because that's how I like to eat my veggies most of the time. And so then I can put that in a container, and that's ready, so I can just grab it. Yes, if y'all do not have an Instant Pot, I'm telling you, they're amazing. But so I like to, already have my veggies ready, so then I can just grab them if I need a helping, or if I want to mix them in with whatever I'm making. I've also discovered that lettuce is a good alternative for like my burgers, or like where I would normally have turkey sandwiches or something like that. I can just wrap it up in lettuce, and that way I'm getting my veggies. And but I also feel like I'm having a sandwich. And it's really, actually, at first I was like, this is not going to be good, but it really is. It's really good, and the lettuce has a nice crunch to it, and so it's really good. And I'm trying to think of what else. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, I have discovered the mini bell peppers. I found a big bag of mini bell peppers from Sam's Club the other day. And I use them to cook with, and I've always, I've cooked with bell peppers before, but I've never just like snacked on them by themselves. And I thought, well, this is kind of cool, these little mini peppers. And so I tried them, and they're really good. They're like really sweet. And, obviously a good way to get in your veggies. So you can have that to cook with. And if you just want a quick snack, you can pull out, 2 peppers, and you're good to go. And I take them, like if I'm going to be, like the other day I was gone for a little while, and I brought that bag with me so I could have a healthy snack to snack on. That way I wouldn't be tempted to eat a bunch of chips or, whatever, cookies or whatever kind of snack was handy. And so like other snacks I like to have, obviously, Shakeology. I found that if I am wanting something sweet, then I can just have my chocolate Shakeology with a little banana, peanut butter, almond milk, and I'm good. Like, it tastes like a milkshake. And of course the Beach Bars, my favorite are the chocolate peanut butter. Obviously I'm a big chocolate and peanut butter fan. But those are super good. My husband loves those too. He likes to take those to work as a healthy snack, and it's got protein in it, so it kind of fills you up for longer than like a normal, bag of chips or whatever would. Sometimes I'll have a little like light butter popcorn, like I'll share a bag with the kids or something if we're just trying to, something easy to make it to supper time, or whatever. But that's kind of what I do for snacks. And I also love to get rotisserie chickens. I like to buy, Sam's Club also they have the big rotisserie chickens. Of course, everything's big at Sam's, but I like to get those at the beginning of the week and just kind of pick off of it, add it to my, whatever I make with the corn tortillas, or if I'm making some pasta with some whole wheat or whole grain noodles or whatever, like I can just add it to anything. And so I really like to have that on hand. And and one last thing I wanted to mention is, like, if you get overwhelmed like I did and still do sometimes with, like, well, what am I going to feed my family? Like, they're picky eaters and they're not going to, eat the stuff that I prep or whatever. Like, what I like to do, because I have some picky eaters, my husband and my daughter both are picky eaters. My son will eat whatever. He doesn't care. Of course, he's just 1.5, but, but what I like to do is, if, like, we have a lot of, like, pastas, pizza, spaghetti, stuff like that. And I will just try to find one ingredient that I can swap out for something healthy. Like, if it's spaghetti, which I know most people have every week, then I try to buy the whole grain noodles, and literally they can't tell the difference. And that's just one way that I have made that a little healthier. And, I do the same thing if we have, like, chicken Alfredo. I'll buy the whole grain noodles for that. Cheesy chicken and rice is something that we have. I can use, the shredded chicken that I have prepped, little cheese, and some whole brown rice with that. And so you can just kind of I like to find one ingredient, like, think about, okay, how do I normally make this, and what is one thing that I can replace with a healthy alternative? And, pizza, instead of buying frozen pizza, I'll get the whole wheat crust from Walmart that come in a pack of 2. And I will just, buy my own pizza sauce to put on it, and pepperoni or whatever they want on it. And we'll have a whole wheat crust instead of the regular white flour. And so those are just, I know that's probably, I went over a lot, but those are just basically, what I have learned so far. Because we're not the ones that have, like, a big to-do dinner at night or whatever. We just kind of like what we like. That's kind of the same things. Like, we get kind of in a routine of what we like and what we want to eat. And so I try to find healthier ways to have those things. And so that's kind of what I do. So I hope that's helpful.
No, that's awesome. I know, Lindsay, you're going to go next. I just want to tell you that I was even writing things down that you said that, well, number one, I've never thought to shred chicken that way, and now I'm totally going to do it because I hate doing this.
Yes. I used to get so, I would just not make the chicken because I don't even want to sit here for 30 minutes trying to shred it.
I'm so glad. And the other thing I love that you shared was just, and this is something I do too, is, like, I kind of have 2 or 3 staples for, like, breakfast, lunch that I can pick from every day. Like, that way I kind of have my menu, like, and I can change it if I want, but at least I know what I have. So it was really good. Like, I took notes on, and I forgot about, like, so thank you. That was really good. I know, Lindsay, you're going to go next. I don't want to keep, I could talk all night, so I'm going to mute myself.
Okay. So no, I'll build on that, because even building on what Kelly just said, even having, like, your 2 to 3 staples for your breakfast or lunch, or if you have, how Emily said, you keep it simple. So you figure, if your family loves certain foods or certain recipes, it's okay to have them once a week. And, for me, I try to change or include a new recipe maybe once a week. So this way I'm not overcomplicating my menu weekly or daily. It's just one time that I'm trying to do something different or something new. So that's kind of helped. But before I go into, say, my meal prepping, in a sense, I figure I'll start with, like, my grocery shopping, or even how you can a lot of people think that it's going to be so expensive to get healthier food. and it's not going to be affordable, but it's really how you train your mind to think about what you're doing. And lists are key when you go into the supermarket, because if you have it written down, and don't go hungry, because I know that's my problem sometimes. If you're like starving and you're like, oh, I really need this, but you really don't. But go through your freezer first, like see what your main staples are, especially after you write your weekly, or for me, I do it every couple of days just because I know my taste buds kind of change. But writing down what you're going to have for dinner and those key staples, you kind of stock up a lot of times if they're on sale. So you might forget that they're in your freezer, but if you look at them, you know, oh, I don't have to buy them again. So it can kind of cut down your grocery bill maybe that week. What I buy weekly is more of like my yogurt, my fruits, my vegetables, stuff that might go bad. A lot of times I am on the go a lot. So for me, at dinner time, I buy a lot of like the frozen steam vegetables. And especially when they're on sale, I stock them up just because I know I can pop them in the microwave for 4 or 5 minutes, have extra vegetables at my meal, and whatever's not eaten, I can either make at breakfast time or have at lunch. So for me, really my weekly main ingredients are like almost like the outside of the grocery aisle and the freezer section, and really just the vegetable section of the freezer, not the French fries and the ice cream aisle. I don't even go down that aisle because I know me. So we avoid it. But that's kind of my grocery shopping, per se. And when I have fruits and vegetables in my fridge, or when I come home, I normally will chop them right away. Just so this way, it's one less thing that I have to think about later. Because if I'm already home and I'm putting them in my fridge, I might as well just take the time to chop some of them up and know that I have a couple days worth to almost have like little baggies and they're on the go. And I know I shared this last time, and I know a couple people were like, oh, I didn't realize, but I will keep my fruits and vegetables fresher or not get as soggy. I'll put like a paper towel in my bag and Ziploc, just zip it shut. So this way it stays fresh, but it doesn't get soggy and mushy throughout like the couple days. But they're all cut then. So that I do. Let me think. What else do I have? So that's kind of like my making sure I have like on the go vegetables, fruits with me. If they look like they're going to get to like go bad, I normally will put them right in my freezer. So this way they're already cut. So this way I can put them in shakes later. So it kind of, I try to figure out what I can do to not waste as much food. Because if you're buying it, and especially the fruits and the vegetables are the more expensive. So that's where you want to try to save the money. So whatever I can do and kind of freeze and then know that I can use it for another purpose is key. So for me, like Emily said, I don't have a Instapot, but I use my crock pot like the same way for right now. Let me see. And you figure I can't keep up with all the comments, so I will read them. But because I don't want to get sidetracked, I know me. But my meal prepping for my week, I normally try to do Sunday. And it will normally be like our staples, like what my family loves is like the chicken, sausage, and like ground turkey for like our tacos. But I will normally put in the crock pot on Sunday. So either it's like 2 crock pots going or whatever. But like my chicken that I buy and sausage, they are normally very little seasoning, like garlic, pepper, salt, like almost bland. But they're all cooked then. So all I have to do when I come home each night, if I know we're having chicken parm, I can put it in a pan, put some tomato sauce on it, put a little bit of cheese, pop it in the oven for 10, 15 minutes, and it's cooked. Same thing with like the sausage. It'll already be cooked, so I can either have like sausage, pepper, and onions. or even chop them up and have like a stir fry and season them accordingly for each meal, as opposed to making a whole pot of, say, like a taco seasoned chicken that I'm going to have to try to make some kind of Mexican dish in a sense for each meal. So I keep them very bland when I meal prep them, and then I can always add the seasoning to it later. That kind of helps me make it so it lasts longer. And then I can even use it for like lunches, you know, the shredded chicken, which I'm happy Emily shared that too, because I'm going to be trying that, because the shredding, it's crazy. So that's perfect. But really, I think that's really all I have to share for what I do. But I keep everything very simple. Like, simple is key, because, and don't be afraid of like the frozen fruit foods, whatever's going to help you. If you know you stock them and it's easier for you, if you're on the go, do it. Cause then at least you know you have it. As opposed to, oh, well, I might be able to go through a drive-through, or, oh, I should do this. There's different ways you can kind of make it a little simpler for yourself. Go ahead and do it. So that's kind of all I have to share. I don't know who else is sharing or what they're going to,
That's really helpful too. I think this was really good. If anybody has any questions, they can put them on the side. I love how you said, and I forgot you said this, like when you get home and you're unloading, you prep it then, because sometimes I think the biggest thing, and you go to the fridge, if you're trying to eat a lot of vegetables, is but I gotta like cut it. You know what I mean? Or it sounds so lazy to say it out loud, but the chips are already in a bag. I just got to rip it open. If I got to take the seeds out of the pepper, or I got to cut the carrots, or, so having that done is such a huge, I'm glad you said that, because I think for myself, even now, that would help me sometimes when I'm stuck to like have a go-to and get it done right when we get home. Like, that was really good. I was going to mention really quick a couple of things if you guys ever have sweet tooths, like that's on the go with your Shakeology. So I try to save that for on the go, like if I'm going to a barbecue or something, to have first, because it gives me something yummy before I get there to help fill me up. But I think I shared it in one of the groups. Sometimes when I need a little sweet something, I will take like a scoop of Shakeology and a little bit of whatever milk or almond milk, even water, and I will like mix it up. Only a little bit of water. You add a little bit at a time and you whip it up. It's almost like a mousse. And you can take strawberries and dip it, or you can throw frozen blueberries in it and it tastes like cake batter. You could crumble a little bit of granola on top and it gives it some crunch. So there's a recipe that Ilana shares in the Tubi on her YouTube channel with whippy things that she makes. I make them with Shakeology. So like today I wanted something and I had some grain-free granola, Shakeology, a little bit of almond milk, and I added some frozen blueberries and mixed it up. And it was like super sweet and good, but it was protein and a healthy carb. And so if you're feeling like you're in one of those places where you've got a craving, that could satisfy it in a way that kind of can hold you over and not make you cheat, or not treat. Sorry, I'm rephrasing my terms, because we want to, as much as like we're in a season of, well, it's going to be 4th of July and it's going to be birthday season. It's going to be like, there's always going to be a season. So I love how you guys shared simple ways that you can like have things on hand so that when you want to have that piece of birthday cake, like some of us have shared, we fell into birthday cake, or we got into this or that. You have a way to bounce back faster. So I love how you guys shared those things. The only other thing I was going to say is I like to buy the 100, I think they're small cups of hummus and guacamole. And if you go along to Sam's or Costco, but you can also get them at the grocery because they freeze well. So I will like buy a huge thing of holy guacamole cups and a huge thing of hummus cups. And then I'll only grab 5 at a time and keep them in my fridge, and the rest will be in the freezer. So that way I have something to dip carrots in, or to dip those mini peppers in, because I love to dip stuff. And my kids can grab them because they are easy to take on the go. So I get Holy Guacamole, and the hummus is just the Costco brand of hummus. But you can find it at a regular grocery, and they cost a little more. But I think my mind, they last longer because you can't freeze a whole thing of hummus, and it's convenience of, well, it might cost more right now at the grocery, but I'm not going to go through McDonald's, So it's kind of like it's a swapping. So that's really helpful to me because I don't know about you guys, but when I'm on the go, I feel like today when we were going to the fair, I was like, what do I do? And because we had a rotisserie chicken and vegetables that were already prepped, I could throw a salad together. And that the only last thing I was going to mention that's kind of fun, I like how you shared that you season things mildly, because I like to keep what Alana calls them in the To Be Mindset accessories. So I always have like olives, pickled beets, artichokes, like in jars in my fridge. So when I go to make a salad, I could make it a little different every time by adding a few things to change it up. But I'm not a gourmet chef. I'm just adding something I have already in a jar. So, but this was all really good. You can take fruit, add a little honey, blend up really good, and then freeze. Oh, that's like a sorbet. That's really yum.
When I had a couple of things that I was trying to think of, like what we did, because I'm a notoriously bad food prepper. And I think I fall back on being home every day and think, oh, I don't have to prep because I don't have to leave. I can just cook. And I spend so much more time that way. But two things that I do, especially when I had a smaller family. So I'm pregnant with my 6th baby right now, and there's not a lot of leftovers. But one thing I did when we had smaller children and fewer of them is try to think like what I could cook extra of. So if I was making a meatloaf, I would make 2 meatloafs. And if I was making something, I would see if I could make more of it. So if I was making a pot of chili, I'd make a huge pot of chili. The joke is now I make a huge pot of chili, and everybody eats it. But, and then I would feed my freezer because when it was me and my husband and 2 little kids, I didn't want to eat chili for a week. So I'd make a huge pot of chili. We'd eat it for the night. I'd save up a lunch portion for my husband to take to work and a lunch portion for me to have at some point. And then I put the rest in the freezer and feeding my freezer. Then if you get to the end and you have more month than budget, which happens to a lot of us, including me still, it's good because then you have things in your freezer that you can use. And then it's also some convenience. If you catch yourself like, oh my gosh, we're going to the fair, or we have something I didn't like tomorrow. I'm not sure what we're going to do for dinner tomorrow because we have like 3 things all at the same time, all at dinner time. So I'm not really sure what we're going to do yet. But that's when you would pull out that chili or that extra meatloaf or whatever. And the other thing that I still do is when we are buying beef, when we don't have any in the freezer, I buy a bunch. So again, like Costco is a good one. I get the huge, like 6 pounds of it and brown it all and then put it in. For us, I do 2-pound packages in a zippy bag in the freezer. Again, when we had a smaller family or when there were fewer or when they were littler, I would just do it in 1-pound packages. But if I take 6 pounds and then, you know how like when it's frozen and it's time for dinner and you're like chipping at the raw beef in the pan, trying to get it like, because you forgot to take it out, it goes so much faster. I can put a little bit of water in a frying pan with a little bit lower heat and put the lid on it. And it's like done in 10 minutes. And it's already cooked. I don't have to thaw it and then cook it. And that's how we always end up making tacos because it goes so quickly. So those are 2 things that I do. I will tell you, I have fallen in love with frozen veggies at Costco. My kids eat frozen peas like just by the handful. I don't. I think that's weird and gross, but they love it, and I'm happy to let them do it. Their frozen green beans seriously taste like fresh green beans. And then the one cool thing that I really like about my husband got a different kind of frozen cauliflower rice this time. It's a huge big bag, but it has smaller bags inside of it, which is nice. And the broccoli was the same too. So it's not just, it's frozen. So if it was a giant bag, it'd be okay because you just take out what you want, but it's nice. So we get I'm telling you, they're the best green beans I've ever had frozen. They really are. They're organic, and they still kind of crunch a little bit. They're so good. But we get cauliflower, green beans, broccoli, peas, all frozen from Costco. They're not terribly priced. They're not terribly bad priced. And they're super delicious. And then I know I always have that, because you want to buy your lettuce fresh, obviously, because you eat it fresh. But some of these other things you can buy frozen, and they're just as good. I don't know if it's Costco brand or not, Rebecca. I haven't been. We live in the middle of nowhere. There's not even a Costco near us. There's one near my husband's work, and so he'll go after work. I haven't been part of Sam's for a long time, so I have no idea what the comparison is. But all you could do is try it, or see if there's somebody else who's part of Sam's who might be able to find it. Where do I go to Costco? Oh, my husband goes in Cleveland. I know, Kate. There's not one near us. But no, my husband works up in Cleveland, and he drives an hour to get to work, and there's one by him.
Yeah, we belong to Sam's and Costco. I feel like Sam's has really done step up and having a lot more variety of like the organic stuff in the last few years, which has been really cool.
But even Aldi, I get the California medley vegetables from Aldi. It's a bag that's too small for my family, but they're really cheap. And so I can make two, and I think they're like $1 or $1.50 a bag. I mean, they're really cheap, and I can buy a ton of them. I don't think those are organic. I'd have to look. I don't know, but they're good, and they're fast, and they still are vegetables. And we're not huge. Like I don't buy everything organic. I really don't. But like I was trying to say in the comments, this is a stellar time of year to eat fresh and local. Everything is coming into season, especially y'all who live in the South. Y'all who live in the South have no excuse to not be stopping by a farmer's market or a roadside stand or something. It's crazy cheap. Growing your own is great. We do that. But I can't grow enough of some things. Do you know what I mean? Like we ate more carrot. I mean, I could plant a 40-foot garden of carrots and it still wouldn't be enough. You know what I mean? But you get I love little roadside stands. I think you get the best tasting vegetables, and you're supporting a family versus a big corporation, which is a big thing for us too.
Hey, Sarah, can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah.
So I really want to go to like farmers markets in my area, but for some reason I get nervous because I don't know the farms, or I don't know these people that I'd be purchasing from. So like, are there certain things we should ask them if we're buying them from them? I mean, is there a standard that says if you're selling at a farmer's market, you are not allowed to use X, Y, and Z on your produce? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, you mean like when you go to the grocery store and you know your farmer and you know exactly where all those vegetables came from?
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Like I want to buy, like, because I gravitate to organic because I'm assuming that they don't use stuff, but I can't always do organic. So if I wanted to replace that with farmer's market, like, what should I do?
The good news is I will tell you, I think you're going to get better stuff at a farmer's market than you're going to get at the grocery store without any questions.
Cool.
Really? Because the person who's selling at that farmer's market is not going to drive 3 days to get there. So, I mean, just the fact of the matter is the food is going to be fresher. It's going to be local. Even some farmers markets, like, so you're in Cincinnati, you'll see like peaches. They'll truck them up from South Carolina or whatever. Obviously, that's not local, but it's still more local than the peaches you get at the grocery store. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. But people are really nice. I would just, I always ask people, so like when I'm looking at apples, I ask if they spray their trees after they have flowers. Most people who spray their trees, it's really, really hard to find somebody who grows apples without spraying them at all, because they're one of the highest disease.
For my,
no, Katie, honey, mute yourself. They are. The apples are really pest prone, and so it's really hard to find apples that aren't sprayed at all. But you'll find a lot of people who spray it before there are flowers. So there's nothing that got sprayed once the flowers are there, so that the apples don't have anything, you know. And so I just ask people, you know, like, do you spray? And it doesn't mean I won't buy it if they say yes, because again, they're not using industrial strength, commercial grade nastiness either. You know, like they're using whatever, if they're spraying it, they're using whatever they get at the store. You know, it's not perfect, but I will tell you, and I'm sorry if it sounds a little flip. It's kind of like the people who are drinking a giant diet soda and a quarter pounder from McDonald's who are grilling me about the ingredients in Shakeology. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's one of those, like, I'm glad that people care and are passionate about it, but let's look at it realistically for a second. If you are at a farmer's market, you have a person that you can talk to and you can ask questions from them. You can ask them, you know, how do you fertilize? What do you do? I want to support something local. Where's your farm? A lot of people will post their philosophy right out there because you're not the only one who has those questions. It's really, really, really hard and very expensive to be certified organic. And so a lot of people just, because to the point that like the truck you haul the things in has to be certified organic. So if you've ever carried gasoline in the trunk of your car, you can't be a certified organic farm to go to the farmer's market. You know what I mean? Like, and so I don't want to get too off into that. We can talk about it for hours, but
I was thinking,
ask questions of those people.
And we could share information even this week about like things to ask or things to do. But Rebecca, you and I could go, because I go here, and I also, and I could share this in the group. Like, you can go to a website and get they're called CSAs, crop community farm share,
community supported agriculture.
And I pay $18 a week and I get a half a bushel of vegetables from a farm here. And they were not certified organic at first for the very reason that Sarah explained. And they explained it in their philosophy, how they completely do everything of clean practices, but now they're certified organic and the cost went up a little bit, but I know the guy, we chat. I mean, they're like, you know, through email, but like he delivers the box to a neighbor's house. And so, but I think
Rebecca, you can start going to your local farmers markets and start getting to know your farmers. Like, you can go just to ask questions, and
okay, and they're fun to go to. I mean,
like, okay, I don't know this guy, but like, okay, let's digest what he has to say. And then, you know, 3 weeks down the road, you've like visited him weekly, and then you're like, yeah, I'm totally ready to buy your tomatoes. Like, we've got a good vibe going on.
Yeah. And even like Trader Joe's sometimes will have like local farmers produce they'll bring in, and I would choose to buy that before I would buy theirs, because I want to buy from whom they're getting from.
When you get to see different stuff too, like we always buy the ugliest tomatoes when we go to a farmer's market, because those are like the ugly, gnarly looking heirloom tomatoes are always the best tasting one. You get to try something new, and you can start with simple questions like, I've never seen a purple tomato before, like what is that, or what's the difference between this lettuce and this lettuce, because the people there are really passionate. Like somebody said in the chat, they get up really early to prep for these farmers markets, and they wouldn't do it if they weren't passionate about the process. And you know, if you get an icky vibe from somebody, like, you know what I mean? Like, you kind of know when you're talking to somebody, and then you just go to the next one. And it's nice because you can find the guy who's got eggs and ask him about if he knows anybody who has beef. Or you can find the girl who has flowers and see if she knows anybody who has honey or whatever. You know, they all kind of are interconnected. It's a really cool, just a community.
Yeah.
A lot of times the really good stands are the ones that have got the lines that you have to wait to get up to their table or the bed of their truck to make your purchase.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. No, this is good. And I think it's something like maybe this week our focus can be on sharing like more food tips and food things in the group. Because even having it fun in the process of it, like we have a farmer's market literally a block down from my house every Thursday. And I don't go every week because I get my box. But when I go down, it's fun when I want to buy like vegetable starting plants or things, or like I know, yeah, it's just it's a kind of fun thing to do with the kids for fun, just to go. And there's lots of them around, so you can always make it a family thing for fun. But this was all good stuff. Like I have my little action items. I've never cooked beef and then frozen it. Hello, I'm always the one at 5:00 who Courtney comes home and I've got a frozen 1.5 pounds of beef in the pan, and he's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I forgot to thaw it." You know,
you're chipping away at it.
Yes. So I would love if everybody, we'll get the video up tomorrow, but if you could share 1 or 2 takeaways that you're going to apply this week to help your meal prep go better, like, or be easier for you, or even share something maybe for people who are listening that you do that we didn't share as a tip. Because I feel like every couple of weeks it's good to have this topic as a Zoom, because we all do it different and we're all learning and we're all, you know, I don't want anyone to think, thank you. Yes, Lindsay has an amazing recipe for little mini meatloaves she's going to share. But I think it's like, everything in my house is not certified organic. I'm not perfect in this area, you know, but I do the best I can. And then we pray a blessing before we eat and ask God to bless our best effort, you know. So don't ever think if you get your eggs from the store that I'm going to shame you because I don't, you know, because it took me a long time before I found a farmer I could get eggs from. I didn't even know it was a thing, you know, before. So, but then don't be afraid to find a farmer near you and get some eggs. Or like, we have a million neighbors that have chickens around here, kind of, that are willing to get rid of eggs. Not get rid of, but sell them. So anyway, that be our call to action. 1 or 2 things you're going to do this week. So if your struggle is on the go, what have you learned from this that you can apply when you're on the go? Or if it's breakfast or if it's veggies, like, what is it you can apply? Because I know I made my list right here. But thank you guys for being here tonight. Looking forward to another week with everybody. And I appreciate everyone taking the time to be here and to listen to the recording. So take care, everybody. Take care.